Hello and welcome to Wise Exotics. I'm your host, Trevor. This is video log April end 2024. So there's some good news and some bad news. We'll go into both. For those of you who are aware that I had a giant fish tank in the background over there, that is no longer here. It sprung a leak, and basically I ended up having to donate all the corals, rocks, and the two fish that were remaining to a local pet store, sadly. That's just how it works. It was 20 plus years old, so I'm assuming a seal just failed on me or whatnot. Um, Other negative, I did get the KX Bario in, but there was a bit of drama going on with that. So initially I had purchased it off of eBay. This is a Carnivero Grex. It is KX Bario Squat, which in my opinion looks to be an M from Exotica plant. Don't know why it wouldn't be labeled as such, but maybe they didn't want to confuse it or whatnot. Not sure. Anywho, I had purchased it on eBay from a seller. The seller initially then told me he shipped it out on Monday, and then it didn't get any tracking. Then he told me he shipped it out on Wednesday. Still no tracking. Then I got tracking, and the tracking didn't work, which was weird. So I just waited, and I kept asking if he had any updates. It finally arrived, and he told me he was checking with USPS. He never got back to me. Um, Plants did arrive. They were not bagged correctly. They had been thrown around and were damaged. The shipping was from some random ship thing that was only $6. He charged me nearly $20 to ship it. So I kind of was like, what's going on here? This is a little suspicious, dude. You charged me a lot to ship it. You didn't package it right, and the shipping cost is literally on the top for $6. So, and the plants are damaged. So this seems like really bad practice. So he apologized, sent me a bit of a refund, enough to refund the shipping and maybe $2 extra. It was like $16, I think I got back as a refund, but overall it was kind of like, wow. Yeah, he started to blame his roommate for shipping it, but I'm like, I have the post-it here. You telling me you shipped it on Monday, then you told me you shipped it on Wednesday, and then you just decided to let your roommate randomly throw it in there. Most people I know who sell their plants or ship it at least would have educated their roommates or their spouse how to wrap the plant up and be safe. I mean, even common sense on some of this. So we'll just go look at the plants themselves as it's just simply easier. So these were the two plants. They are a K. Xperia squat. They're in Akadama and Perlite. They were in one pot, and basically all he did was wrap the outer edge of the pot in the bag. Would have been nice, but he wrapped it outside of the bag. So this was just wrapped and held, nothing to protect or secure the plants in. So they went flying around and got damaged. And basically, when I got them, both the growth tips had necrosis. So I had to trim and treat that. Now, I'll explain this treatment method. So here is a healthy growth tip. You would typically, if you see black start to go down this, you would trim it. And what I do is I apply isopropyl alcohol to the incision area, which would be the cut, where I cut across on the plant. Then I would apply hydrogen peroxide to that just to seal it, and that seems to have been a method that works for me if I've had this occur. I had this occur on 2 prior plants, and I did not do it, and I lost both plants. So this is now my typical method. So that being said, I did that treatment, and immediately they've already pushed new growth tips, so they look like they're recovering fine. But it was just, like I said, a bit of drama for no reason. They weren't that expensive of a plant, I guess, to take them seriously. But all the other plants are doing well. Macrophylla, you can see, has already got some growth tips. Some nice little growth jumps going on in there. There is something special in the bag, and on the bag over here, and I'll go over that. The other bad news is slash good news. I did a trade with my friend Andrew, who a few of you know as Arizona Nepenthes or AZ Neps. I did a trade with him. He was looking for a Petiolata X Burb. I actually had a larger one, so I traded that to him. And he traded me his akazukin X Bario VCI, which is in there. I can use it on that. Next to it, he also sent a gift plant, which was a BE3734, which is a cutting off of Yuyi Groses. Yuyi is the one who sent me the Glandulifera extrusmatiensis I have while I was in the hospital. Awesome guy. I did get to meet him at the Bay Area Carnivorous Plant Society, and I thanked him in person and gave him a big hug. He was nice. Also got to talk to his son, who was manning the booth at the time. So, great people. Highly recommend. Actually do have their little symbol, so that. So if anybody's curious. Now, as for my side of the trade, I had sent him the Petiolata Expert, but as a gift, I also sent him like a couple other little plants. So one was a cutting from my Baleax Aristo. I know he would get a kick out of it. Spectabulousix Mira, and then as a add-on, the twin of this one. Now this is a complex plant from such as Nepenthes. Usually it's only made these kind of pale yellow and red striped, which is typical. But this one, right after I sent its twin off, started to get this darker color, which is a weird variant of his. He even, when I talked to him about it, he said, I've only had one other one get dark like that, and I just sold it off on eBay. And it looks really impressive, but it's just a darker version. He doesn't know why. I'm down for it. I like some of the dark with red stripes, personally. Now, the downside is almost all the plants made it to him perfectly fine, except for the Spectabulousix Mira. Now, I'm pretty OCD about it. I wrapped the plants in bubble wrap. I did a lot to try to protect it. So all the plants except for that one made it. And the reason is it looked like he said it took a huge dent on the inside. Right where that plant was, like someone hit it or it got dropped or something fell on it. I don't know. It's the Postal Service. But basically, that plant did not make it. It got smashed and broke in multiple areas. It was starting to vine, and it was just a little plant. So it was kind of like that tall. Kind of like how my Diotis are right here, you can see. Again, Diotis, for those of you who are new, is a fairly common and cheap toothy Nepenthes. It's red with nice yellow teeth. They don't get that big, and they basal fairly often. I have two, if anybody is curious or needs one. And one of mine even has a bunch of basils right now. And then one's growing totally normally. Anyway, so that being said, that was the only downside of this update. So far, a lot of good going on. Really proud of the Sibulinensis. Finally had its first trap open. Now, interesting, it's very translucent, so it's getting a nice little flare. It's very red, very translucent. You can even see the liquid shift around in there. This was very soft to start, but now it's more woody. So there's that. VGIA, doing quite well. Very slow. Of the VGIA, I'd say VGIA is definitely been confirmed by quite a few people. It's a slower growing one, but they are worth it for their colors and traits, in my opinion. My VGIB, which we all know I call Taffy, which is from Tyler, who was called Salty Trout. He's now going by Sweet Trout Tropics because he is done being called that salty guy, I guess. That's what he said to me. Anyway, for one that really never did anything impressive for him, it's been just crazy for me. It just gets better and better every trap. This trap flared and has stripes, and it's starting to get, as you can see, little fang points on the parasome, which are like flare points. So it kind of reminds me how Cobra initially started. So I don't know. I think it's really cool. This trap had a little more red. If you look at the stem, it started to darken a little more than its prior trap, which is around the corner. So there's that. Now my Golden Bario, which I call Golden Odyssey, you can see its older trap is getting that golden look, doing quite well. K1XM2, VHIK, got a really pink body already and pink stripes and this kind of purple inner. I really like it. I've been calling this cotton candy, but replace the C's with a K because it's a KXK. I thought I was witty. Anyway, next to it is one I'm actually really happy to see have a nice trap finally. This is my Batabuli dash Batalai, which is a rare Grex. This was actually from a local here I picked up off of. He was growing, he had a bunch of them on the table, and it was only like $35, and I did not see this cross prior, and he was like, yeah, it's a rare Grex, but I have two pure that I grow, so I sell seed ground, so I'm like, cool. Now, the BE3734, this one from yuyi tends to be big yellow with flare. It's very pretty. Mine that I got, which is the number 22 from Carnivoro, doing pretty good already. Nice stripes. Yeah, very nice stripes. Polo approves. My KXM right here is very again squat and stripe. Kind of like it. So it's nice to see how they all develop. My candy, whatever, KX candy, not anything too crazy. I know I have another one somewhere here. I think it's in that direction somewhere. It's a KX candy F1. It's hiding right here. This is Minima X Candy Green. This one's getting speckles, and then its sibling is not. It's getting, well, maybe faint red ones on the back there. It's all interesting. So they're all doing well. Super glue. I know everybody was weirded out that I put crazy glue and grafted it back to itself, but it's doing quite well. Red Leaf Exotics 42 had a bit of a picture reduction, but I don't know. That one's been kind of malformed since it's grown, so I think he has a very unstable picture development because it being a complex hybrid, which is this really long spread out leaf, not the stout one, but the one that's kind of ground crawling here. Its trap is in with super glue. Yes, I do call it super glue. Raja Paltata, Raja Ima, Cherry Bomb sibling, which I said chocolate mint or something I was kind of in my head calling it. Crepida, Ima, Loya, Vici doing good. That one's another one whose traps don't seem very stable in its coloration and size and form. It's done like 3 different types already for me, so I'm not quite sure. Of my Vici, probably the slowest I've had is probably going to be the A, that Bata Bully Batalai, and my Vici Big Mama X Pink Candy Cane. This one really hasn't taken off. It's only thrown small traps. It's never been very fast to progress, but well, seed grown. You're going to have some fast ones, some crazy ones, and some that are just, normal or slow. But there's quite a few variety in here. I really do enjoy this Red Leaf Exotics 30. Look at that coloring. For a plant that I almost sold off, and I mean, I bought this for $30 from Greenwood Exotics. Same as Super Glue. It's come a long way. It was pale yellow. The body size shape is the same, but it was yellow. The flare was wider, but just pale. I don't know if my temperature drops might be to blame for this or the reason, because I know pigmentation is a result of getting cooler night drops do help with that, from what I understand or talking to people. So I'm actually curious to see how these two will perform in my conditions. Same with the A. The A is already developing a new leaf and a new trap right there, hopefully. Seriously impressed with this VGIB still. The little B had a new trap hiding in there. It's next to the 4021. 4021 Golden Odyssey, and is next to the 4021 I got from Pearl River, which also had stripes, but it was just small and faint, so I hope to see it throw some nice traps off like this. But beyond that, so the other good thing, if I can get up without hurting myself and find it, here it is. We had our first VGI sewn in-house here. These are not my in-house Grex. I purchased this from John Carnivores, who's well known in the community. He's over in the UK. Quite a few people buy from him and vouched and said he's got good seeds and he's a well-known grower. I was trying, my best to find someone I could buy from that, I didn't have to worry about. This was an in-house cross of his VGI. So what we got is VGI Yellow Parastem crossed with Brown Black Parastem, crossed with VGI Maraud Striped, crossed with Candy Stripe. Now, I have seen some of the siblings, and they do kind of have the same kind of striping going on as the VGI B here, but a more pinker body, kind of like that. They're not that big, but they're about the same size as my VGI B right now, as picture in his collection, so they're very similar to that. I'm hoping we get some oddities. Now, for those of you who don't know, the brown parastem or the black parastem VGI is a well-known cultivator in the UK. It was used in various cultivation with VGI. I'm actually surprised I haven't heard of it before or seen it more often. It's a VGI which is a very pale flared yellow. Then as it ages, it will basically darken to brown, then to almost like a coal matte black. It's very pretty. Again, I hadn't even heard of this till I he sold me the seeds, and I went, oh, what's this one? So he explained it, and then I went and did some research. I was like, this is actually a really cool specimen. Why don't I see this more often? Because basically more people like stripes. And I'm like, yeah, but it could be cool with stripes. Black with red stripes on a Veitchii, that just sounds completely different. Anyway, that's my personal take. So I had purchased a seed pod from him for $15. Usually he was selling each one for $25, so I just bought one. He was really nice. He put 2 in here. I wasn't expecting that. That's because I only expected the 1. So I had to, I got 4 pots. I put seed pods, 1 in 1 and 3, and then 2 and 4 is seed pod 2. So I was keeping the even and the odds together. Now I broke 1 and 2 in this bag here, and 3 and 4 will be in the bag over here in the corner. I'm doing that to try to keep stable temperatures and lighting consistently so they germinate and go well. If they do well, I'll let everybody know how this is going. I'm really hopeful to have my own little, in-house grown Veitchii that I can sell or trade or give at a discount to you guys. Because personally, I really enjoy Veitchii. I'd have to say in my list it's probably Diabolica, then Macrophylla, Raja, then Veitchii. But Veitchii are cheaper, so I can have more of them at a decent price and not break the bank. So Veitchii are extremely polymorphic, so there's that. Now, as I explained, Veitchii can have different aging colors. As a quick example, so we look at the B. The B and the A both get this kind of copper color. As you can see on the age trap right there, it's basically like a darker copper. Now, on the 4021, they're specifically known as the golden Barios because as they age, instead of going copper, they get this kind of golden sheen, similar to the Akazukin X Bario. But the akazukin X Bario, or the akazukin itself, is a weird cultivator from Yamada in Japan, also known as Y Exotics. Not to be confused with me, WISC, it's just the letter Y. So that one is very impressive because as it ages, instead of going copper or gold, it actually turns reddish, like a metallic red. So kind of like this, but you darken it up kind of more like this reddish color, not this neon red. So it looks like this, then it ages to get this kind of overlay shine effect to it, reddish. It's very impressive. So with the black peristome or brown peristome coming into the mix, that could be a really cool coloration. Instead of going either to those metallics, it could be like a black metallic with red. Now, as you can see on both of these age traps, these stripes are still visible. So I think a black with stripes just seemed really cool to me. But of the progeny that he's done of the same Grex before, John Carnivore, the one Jon, not John to be specific, they basically look a lot like my B. They're about the same size, a little less of this flare, but similar striping, more pink body, and kind of more yellow than green on that peristome. But this is a new one, so it might age. But from what I could see, it looked kind of more like this coloring, or that, with similar stripings to say on the 421. But those were just the examples he sent me, so we'll see how that goes. Yeah, I do have one other plant coming in, and that is a purple haze from Carnivore because I won it in an auction. It was the first one to say 60, and I said 60 first, so I won it. So yay. So that's my only plant currently I'm waiting for. I am keeping my eye out because supposedly I know someone is going to be selling a variegated clone of Sericea, where mine is actually seed-grown, individual seedling clone, aka seed-grown specimen. This one is extremely variegated all over, so I was hoping to get that to compare to the air quote seed-grown and see how they develop in tangent. My other good news, or I should say interesting news, is this little unique specimen. Ventricosa Maja X Rocco Bashin X Veitchii Yellow Stripe. This was only sold at the Carnivore live auction, and this is a one-of-a-kind specimen, to my understanding, how Drew put it. Basically, they do this often where they'll throw a bunch of seeds and, do a bunch of hit and misses, and some of them will only grow one of that Grex combination. So this is the only one of its kind on the planet. Similar to Lonely Plant. Now, Lonely Plant was variegated, so that was pretty cool. Don't think this one's variegated, but has a very interesting parasome. Now, if you're not familiar with the Maja ventricosa, it's very similar to, say, like porcelain, very tan, clear body with a very dark parasome, probably similar to, say, my Naga's coloring here on the parasome, very dark. So that in combination with the Rocco Bosch VGI will just be really cool. It's already got that ventricosa body, a lot of red, getting that yellow red parasome gradient that's known on that half. So I hope it ages darker or gets some of the cool kind of like a mixture of both. But that's about it. So I hope everybody's doing well. I'll keep you guys all apprised of how the seeds are doing. All the other plants seem to be doing fine. Even the ones that were having problems on my end seem to be doing pretty well. But the collection overall is, made it through April, and we're just going to continue on. So I wish you guys all the best, and I'll give you an update in May. I am planning to do a Bario VCI discussion video, as someone had requested it. So look forward to that. Trevor out.